Hello! In today's sock video, we are knitting the Lazy Daisy socks by Christine Vehar of A Verb for Keeping Warm. The only reason I've decided to knit these in this video is because I was at the consignment yarn store the other day and I found these yarns. These are A Verb for Keeping Warm Gather yarns, which is exactly what you need to knit the Lazy Daisy sock in this book. I got 2 of these because that's what it recommends you get. The example does have a different color toe. Let me see how it's knit. It has okay, just from glancing at the pattern, it sounds like it has an afterthought heel. And in the example picture, it has contrast toes and maybe contrast heels. It's kind of hard to see the heel because of the position of the foot in this picture. So I can't really tell if it has a different color heel, but I want to do contrast toes and heels. So I have these 2 colors, or no, I have this one color. This color is Succulent, and I believe there is still some of this available to buy on their website. A lot of their yarns do have to like pre-order and then they dye it for you, which is really cool. But I'm gonna go there today because today is Saturday and it's the one day of the week that they're open for in-store shopping. So I'm gonna go there today and I'm gonna get a 3rd one for my contrast color. And so I got these for $13 because the consignment yarn store is usually like half off, and these are $26 each, which feels like a lot of money to me because they're only 200 yards. But I really like Verb and I wish I could shop there more. So we're gonna go buy 1 more of these at full price. They also have a Lobby Enemy yarn, so I might look at that too. But that's the plan for this video. This is gonna be my first like chunkier sock. It requires needle size 3. And so far the biggest needle we've used in this series is 2, but it was still with like sock weight yarn, so this is gonna be a new experience. These are like really simple socks. It's just knit stitches, but maybe after this we'll venture into some chunky textured socks. Who knows? And then I think after this, I'm gonna have to start thinking of things from this book that I can knit for other people for the holidays, because it is already mid-October and I haven't made anything for anyone. I was thinking maybe my mom would like these socks, so maybe this could be a gift. So I went to A Verb for Keeping Warm, and the contrast color that I got to go with the Succulent color is this color, which is called Amethyst. Pretty. They had a couple other purple tones. I think they had some that were a little more saturated, but I thought that this would look really nice with that Succulent color. Let me just get it. Okay, so this is the Succulent color and then this is Amethyst. And I don't know, maybe it's a little funky, but I really wanted like 2 colors, I don't know, I didn't want a neutral. So I had this green and I thought that this would look good with it. That's the plan for the Lazy Daisy socks. This is my accent color, and the pattern just has you do it for the toe and the cuff, but I'm gonna do it for the heel too, I think. Or maybe it just has you do it for the toe and the heel, but I'm gonna do it for the cuff. One of those 3 things the pattern does not call for, but we're gonna do all 3 with Amethyst. This is also knitting up very quickly. We are knitting it on size 3 needles. I did get a new pair of size 3 needles because I think, the ones I had were like super long. They were like the 8-inch double points, which is like way too long. I like bought those before I was actually using the double points a lot. So I got some of the Chow Goo double points in a size 3, which is 3.25 millimeters, and these are very nice. And I have started knitting my toe because it's a toe up sock, and it's going very quickly. So I thought it would be fun to time myself. So far, it did take me like 10 minutes to like, you know, cast on and do like my first row. But the cast on always takes a little bit of time for me, with Judy's Magic Cast On, because you got 2 needles that are like this close, and you gotta get all those stitches off and onto 4 needles. So yeah, that took about 10 minutes, and then I've just been decreasing a little bit, but I'm not done yet. So I think so far I've spent about 25 minutes doing this, but I did knit a little bit of the other sock already, and it was going so fast compared to the other socks that I've knit with smaller needles. So I just thought it would be fun to like see how long it actually takes, because I think this could be like a great sock to knit as a gift for people, because it's like nice yarn, and I mean you could use whatever yarn, but this yarn from Verb is very nice. It's 100% wool, I think. Let me just double check before I tell you misinformation, because now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think it is. It is Rambouillet, which I think is a kind of sheep. Let's see. Yeah, it's a breed of sheep. So it's 75% California Rambouillet. I think it might be a French word. Might still be saying that wrong. And 25% Arizona alpaca. So it's sheep and alpaca. So it's wool and alpaca. It's very nice. The ones that I got from the craft store, or from the reuse store, were 13, and then the one I got, the amethyst color, that one I paid full price for, and it ended up being like 28. So I think they charge based on the color. I think it's between like 28 and 32 depending on the color. And they are all hand dyed. I think the one that was the most expensive was like the cobalt color, and maybe that's because it's like so saturated they have to like spend more time dyeing it. I'm not sure, but I'm just trying to figure out why would it be a little bit more expensive. It is very saturated, like compared to this one, which is like a nice pale purple. Why am I talking about this? Anyway, what I was saying was I want to time myself to see how long it takes me to knit the sock, because it's a very chunky sock, and I know it's gonna go faster, and I'm gonna try to like just, you know, okay, whatever. I think it could be a good sock for a gift, because it's fast, which is good for the knitter. It's like a thicker fabric that you're knitting up, so it's great for winter. It's cute. This sock pattern is super simple. It's like, part of me thinks it's only in this book because it's from like the owner of A Verb for Keeping Warm, and like they have like really nice yarns and like a really amazing store. So part of me is like, are they just in that book because like they're like a dope store and like a dope, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like a very simple sock. It's basically like the toe up version of the sock video I have on my channel that's called How to Knit a Simple Sock. It's like almost the same. But with that being said, it's very simple, and it could be a great sock for holiday sock gift sock knitting. Okay, at this point I'm just rambling about the same thing over and over again. Starting now, I have worked on this for about 25 minutes. I'm gonna set an actual timer that I have going while I'm knitting. I'm gonna stop it if I'm like not, you know, if I get sidetracked. So we're gonna find out how long it takes me to knit one of these socks approximately. How long do you think it'll take me to knit this sock? So we're doing size 3 needles, pretty chunky yarn. Let me know in the comments right now. Pause the video. I mean, well, it's gonna be a while before I tell you how long it took, but let me know in the comments how long you think it's gonna take. Like a day, 2 days, total. We're talking hours. How many hours? All right, I'm gonna keep knitting, and I will get back to you when I've made a bit of progress on my Lazy Daisy sock. Okay, it's been 1 hour and 7 minutes since I last filmed, and I have made this much progress. So I finished my toe increases, and then I've just been knitting in the round for the last hour. I have said this many times on my channel, but I don't think I'm a very fast knitter. But I don't know, I mean, an hour, so like about an hour and a half total so far. And we got our toe, and we're like halfway through the foot, because you only work the foot for like, you only work it for like 2 inches ish less than your foot size before you like start doing your heel stuff. So we're making, I don't know, I think we're making like pretty good time. But yeah, I'm not a very fast knitter. I'm gonna take a break and then I will check back in when I've made some more progress. Good morning to me. It's the next day. It's very cold in my apartment and I don't have a heater because I took my heater to my studio. So I need to buy a new heater because it's freaking cold in my apartment and it's only November, so it's probably gonna get colder. Anyway, it is the next day and I've gotten to the point in my sock where I'm ready to do my heel, kind of. And my time now is 56 minutes. So I restarted the stopwatch after my last check-in, which was like, what, an hour? 56 minutes was how long it took me to get from this stitch marker, which was our last check-in, to the point where I'm gonna put my heel. So I think this took me about like 2.5 hours to do all of this, which, I don't know, it doesn't look like much, but that's very fast for a sock. 2.5 hours to do the foot portion of a sock. I don't know, I think that's fast. Okay, so the pattern has you do a kind of a forethought heel. It has you just put a marker where you're gonna put your heel and then kind of just take note of where that is and then later go in and cut open your stitches. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna do the forethought heel method where you put in a piece of scrap yarn, which is exactly what I did in my how to knit a simple sock video. And I'm just gonna do that because I would rather, let's see, do I have my piece? So I cut a piece, oh yeah. So I would rather like utilize a piece of yarn like this length and like, cause I feel like I could use this again later instead of like cutting yarn and ending up with a lot of little tiny pieces of waste. I don't know, personal preference. I also just don't feel like it's necessary for me to go in and cut this. I would much rather just put a piece of scrap yarn in and then take it out later. So I'm not gonna do what the pattern says in this video. But this is like, it's like a friend to that, you know, it's gonna look the same in the end. It's just a different like setup method. That's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm just gonna reset my stopwatch, put in my heel, which is, if you haven't watched my how to knit a simple sock video, it's basically just knitting. You knit across 2 needles with your scrap yarn and then you turn around and you purl back with the scrap yarn. So you end up with 2 knit rows of scrap yarn and you want to use a contrast color so you can see it. And then once you're done knitting the rest of your sock, you go in and you take out that scrap yarn and you put your needles in and there's an opening and that's where you put your heel. And the heel is basically knit in a very similar way to the toe usually, with like every other row being like a knit row and then a decrease row, so you end up with kind of a point where your heel goes. But yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna reset my little stopwatch and see if I can finish the sock by the end of the day. It's 10 a.m. right now. That would be pretty epic if I knit these 2 pairs of socks in like 2 days. That would be like amazing. And if that happens, this is definitely gonna be like my go-to yarn and needle combination for sock gifting, because this shit is fast. And your girl is a procrastinator. I'm definitely gonna end up like, it's gonna be like December 15th and I'm gonna be like, fuck, I have to knit socks for like 10 people. She says this in November when she has literally a month and what, 25 days to plan for Christmas presents. Last night I was in San Francisco and I went to this place called Shuggy's Trash Pies, and it's like a natural wine bar and they have pizza that's made with like food that other people didn't want, or like ugly food, and it's kind of a bougie place, but it's like, you know, like cool bougie. Like they have these really cute graphics on their merch and stuff. I liked it. I thought it was really good. I didn't have any of the natural wine. Well, I had a wine slushie while I was waiting for my pizza to go, which was pretty good. And I'm not really a wine person, but I thought it was a good place. Let me know if you've been there in the comments. Okay, I'm gonna knit this and I'll see you later. Okay, it has been 1 hour and 46 minutes since I last told you how long it had been, and I have reached the cuff portion of the sock. This is what I have. My toe, my foot, my heel, my ankle, and now I'm going to do the rib. So I don't know how long it's been. Let's see, it's been an hour and 46 minutes, and then before was like an hour. I don't know. So I'm ready to do my cuff, and then I'm gonna bind off, and then I'm gonna do the heel. So we do have quite a few more things to do. I said earlier in the video that the pattern actually only calls for you to do a contrast color in 2 places. I think it's just the toe and the cuff. But I decided to do 3, just, you know, because I like the contrast. Toe, heel, cuff. It's like, it's kind of, for me, I feel like when I change colors, I'm like working towards another place. And then I, you know, it like, I don't know, it's like a mind, it's like a trick of the mind. It's like I get to change colors when I get there. So like I just gotta get through this section, and then I change colors, and then I do another section, and then I'm done. I don't know, it's just fun, okay? But what I was gonna say was the pattern called for 2 balls of the, was it the gather yarn from A Verb for Keeping Warm? It said that you would need 2 balls, and okay, this is the second sock. I already knit the first sock, and this is how much yarn I have left, and I've only used 1 of these. And like, yes, I am using another color for the heel, the cuff, and the toe, but like that's really not that much yarn. Like, this is how much I have left of the other one that I've used for, so far I've used it for 2 toes, a heel, 1 cuff, and I'll have to use it for another cuff and another heel. Like that, I'm still gonna have a lot. And this I used for the whole foot and ankle of my first sock and the whole foot and ankle of my second sock. So I don't understand why it said that you would need 2 of these. And it was for like the size small and, or the I think there's only 2 sizes. So it was for both sizes. It said you would need 2. I'll double check my gauge against their gauge to see like if mine is tighter or something, but it just seems like you probably don't need 2 of these. I think if you're knitting the smaller size at least, you could probably just get 1. Okay, I'm going to put my timer back on and do the cuff now. And maybe I'll do the cuff, and I'll open up the heel, and then I'll check back in before I do the heel.
3:28 a.m.
It took me so long to do the cuff. Like the rib, I'm like so slow. What is this? Oh, it's a box. I'm so slow at doing the rib. So I did my little rib cuff. It took me like an hour just to do this little rib cuff and bind it off with, you have to bind it off with a different size needle so it's like not too loose. And then you do Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off, which takes me a little bit longer than like a regular bind off. So, and then I put the needles in my heel and I picked out the scrap yarn, and it took me an hour and 24 minutes to do that. So now I have to do the heel, which will probably take me like another 45 minutes. At least it's just knitting, no rib. And it's decreases, so it's gonna get like less and less and less until we're done. And then we're gonna weave the ends and block it. Blocking is like my favorite part of the sock process now. I have some other socks that are on the blockers right now. So I'm like, okay, I just like had this yarn and I like wanted to knit it. I just wanted to knit a sock. And so I just like freehanded a rib sock. I'll show you at the end of the video. And I ended up like spending like 3 weeks knitting those socks because of course, this is what happens. I knit the first sock very, very quickly, and then the second sock takes me like triple the amount of time because I've like, it's second sock syndrome. So those were like on my 1.5 needles for like 3 weeks. So I couldn't use those needles because I wasn't gonna like take the project off. And I also wasn't motivated enough to just fucking finish the project. So the other day I was like, I need to finish this because I need those needles. I need to like start knitting something else. Like it wasn't even for a sock video. It wasn't for anything. It was literally just because I got this cool black yarn and I was like, I want to knit a sock. Yeah, so that felt a little bit like a waste of time, and now I just have this pair of socks, which I'll show you. Anyway, I'm gonna knit the heel now, and I will continue to time myself. I do have a friend coming over to the studio to work with me, so I might have to sneak away, because I don't really want to film in front of my friend. I might have to sneak away to give you my time check-in after I do the heel, and then we can add up the total time that it took me to knit the sock. And then times it by 2 because there is a second sock here that I already knit. So far, the like fastest thing, the thing that's like much faster than normal, is just like knitting, the knitting portion of this. And that's probably just because it's big needles and bigger yarn. Like I think that was the only, I mean, the whole sock was faster, but I think the portion that was actually like kind of fast was knitting the foot and the ankle. Because like the toe took some time and the cuff took me a very long time. So yeah. Alright, I'm going to fill in this little hole. I do have to add some stitches because I have some gaps on the side, and when I knit the first one I did end up with some holes because I don't know why, I know it's kind of standard to add a little stitch there and knit it together to close the hole, but I just didn't do it and I ended up with a hole. So I'm gonna do it this time. I might pick up a stitch because if you can see there's quite a big little gap there. A big little gap. I'm gonna do that right now and then I'll check in before I block my socks. Yeah, fast socks. I love fast socks. Okay, I finished the sock. I finished the heel. The heel took me 40 minutes. Jesus, I'm so slow. Okay, so that's an additional 40 minutes. And look, I still have a hole even though I added an extra stitch. So I think I'm just going to kind of stitch it up as I weave in the ends because I haven't weaved in the ends yet. I'm going to weave in the ends and I'm going to take this sock and my other sock and I'm going to block them now. And I'll see you when they're done. My socks are finished. Woohoo! I actually finished them like 2 weeks ago and I filmed an outro and then I just like didn't want to commit to that outro. So here we are, a few weeks late, but these are the Lazy Daisy socks. They are very simple. They didn't take very long compared to other socks. So I would definitely recommend like knitting a sock with DK or worsted weight for like any fast holiday gifts. Like if you are dead set on knitting someone a pair of socks and you have a few days, definitely use worsted or DK weight because those will knit up very quickly. I have started another pair. There's actually another pair of verb socks in the 52 Weeks of Socks book, so that might be my next pair because life is getting a little hectic right now. I'm gonna try them on. I'm pretty sure they fit because I think I tried them on a few times, but they're like really chunky, so I think I might wear them with my Doc Marten loafers today. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning and I have to go to work. Do 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 do. I think like I made them a tiny bit too small. Sometimes, sometimes when I'm knitting, when I'm knitting a sock, I will read the toe measurement that's like, stop knitting like 2 inches before the toe and then start the toe, and I'm like, I'll stop like 2 1/4, and then I end up with like socks that are slightly too small. So I'm gonna try to not do that anymore. I don't know why I was doing that. One last look. These are my socks, and these were made with the yarn from A Verb for Keeping Warm. It's very soft, it's like biodegradable. You could bury this and it would probably biodegrade in a few years. I don't know what I'm trying to say. yeah, I'm sorry that this video is like a month since the last one. I have still been sock knitting. I got a lot going on right now. I'm like trying to write patterns, trying to think about the holidays, trying to knit socks. My sock knitting time has kind of been moved to like the weekends and my train ride because I went back to my grown-up job, which requires me to be focused for 8 to 10 hours a day. So I have to kind of reorganize my mind and figure out how I can prioritize work and YouTube and all the knitting that YouTube requires. Bear with me. So thank you so much for your support on my sock videos, and just know that although I have been a little bit inconsistent with my uploads, I'm still here. I'm still sock knitting. So thank you so much for watching these videos. I'm gonna wear these to work today. I don't really want to get up and like show you my outfit, but I'll just put my docs on. You can see if they look cute. I have another pair of hand knit socks. Okay, these socks might be a little chunky for my docs because my docs are still kind of new. And they're not like, yeah, it's kind of bubbling a little. I also knit these socks. These were just a freehand sock that I knit toe up because I had these toes from when I started another sock and then I like didn't want to continue with that sock, so I just used the toe and then a different yarn. I haven't worn these yet. I don't know, I might, but I'm also like, maybe I should do something with them. They would fit like a size 7.5 to 8.5 US like women's shoe size. I would love to do a giveaway of some kind of sock related thing. I don't know how to do that. I feel like sock knitting, or knitting in general, is like so specific to the person that's going to be wearing it, you know, like sizing and aesthetic. So give me your ideas in the comments for how we can do a giveaway related to socks or knitting or anything. Just give me some ideas. I'd really appreciate that. So I don't have to attempt to figure it out and then end up doing like something that doesn't really work. Okay, well, I have to go to work now. Lazy Daisy sock done. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've knit this sock or any of the Verb for Keeping Warm socks in the comments below. Let me know what you're knitting for the holidays, any gift ideas. I think I'm going to be knitting a lot of socks, hats, accessories, all that good stuff. So let me know what you're knitting for the holidays in the comments below, and I will see you very soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe.